Welcome to Alpha Wolf Capital. I'm Tim, and I want to personally thank you for stopping by. This channel is designed to help small companies, both public and private, gain exposure with potential consumers, investors, even partners. Take, for example, today's guest, CEO Trent Northcutt from Aurora Spine, ticker symbol ASAPF. Aurora Spine is on a mission to be the leader in advanced minimally invasive technologies, which will positively impact lives worldwide. They are committed to making implants better, less invasive, and more importantly, something that truly helps patients and improves the quality of their life. Innovation targeted at their patients' well-being. Their philosophy is to make implants match the patient's anatomy, not make their anatomy fit their implants. Aurora is an impact company. They provide solutions to chronic back pain and improve people's lives. But I'm going to let Trent tell you more about that in just a moment. This is not to be taken as investment advice. I am not a certified financial planner. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. I encourage everyone to do their own due diligence. Hey everybody, Tim from Alpha Wolf Capital coming at you with a follow-up to one of my favorite stories and always one of the most visually attractive stories that I follow. Trent Northcutt from Aurora Spine, ticker symbol ASAPF. And this is an impact stock. This is, I focus on companies that can make a difference. And this is one that I think improves quality of life. Chronic back pain being one of, I think, if not the leading medical condition that people suffer from is chronic back pain, right? Is that
That's right.
okay? And Aurora Spine doesn't just have one product; you have a suite of products that are fast becoming, I would say, best in class.
Thank you.
Fair?
Yeah, we agree. Yeah, we think they really are making a difference. Certainly helping patients get back on their feet. Now, what we got to do is we got to get our stock and our shareholders happy with the dollars to come back into the company, which is the absolute goal of 2025 for Aurora.
Which hasn't always been easy or in your control for a lot of different reasons. I mean, look, we had COVID. that hurt the industry for a bit. Then you had the coding issue, right, for a little bit. That screwed things up for a little bit.
Yep.
But we've kind of, would you say you've gotten through that stuff? You survived. You didn't just survive. You grew, right?
Well, I'm really glad you brought that up because one of the things that had been brewing with us, and I had constantly been reminding during IR calls that there was a headwind a few years ago with the allograft, which was, with the allograft system was this bone allograft that we used for the SI joint. It was a dowel that we would put into the SI joint, and it would fuse that segment. Now, I always like to say, Tim, we had a double secret evil plan that we were going to make the TFX, but this product right here was leading like over $100,000 a month in sales. It was really, really a driving force, and we learned a lot on how the procedure is performed with the SiLO system. But what happened was that there was a big competitor that didn't think that an allograft system should be built out the same way as say a metallic implant or something that comes across the joint line. And we didn't 100% disagree with them, but we didn't want to get the rug pulled out from underneath us, but it did. The rug got pulled out. And what happened was two codes came out of it, was 27278 for allograft and 27279 for a metallic implant. So we knew with the headwinds on this that many things could happen. One, that there could be no code. If there was no code, then no one could bill for it, and that would have been a real tragic event for us. But just the rumors themselves with the codes being able to say that they're going to be in flux, The doctors are worried about what they call clawback, where if they build out a bunch of cases and now the insurance carriers say that product's not approved, and now we want our money back. They already paid you,
Right.
and that's a real tough spot to be in. So that code is now defined. It's defined. There's 27278 and there's 27279, and I'm really happy to say that just recently, as of real recent, that the coding and reimbursement has now been firmed up, and that the headwinds that I had been talking about for the last number of years, and how it did affect us a few years ago on the allograft side of it, the metallic side of it, the metal implants, that the 27279, the codes have been firmed up, and we believe that there's not going to be any headwinds. I think the headwinds have really, really died down. We'll keep updating annually on this, but as of today, I'm feeling really, really good about how those headwinds finally died down, because we were really, really excited about the SiLO-TFX. And I think because of these headwinds I was mentioning, I think that we kind of hit a little bit of a plateau in sales, but it certainly wasn't over for us. In fact, just the other day, I posted a video that showed more sets that had been built out in the office. But the ease of this product to be able to take this little comb, which is about the size of a quarter, it's a very small little implant. I got to show it to you for the first time last week when I saw you in Las Vegas. So this fits nicely right into the SI joint. The patient's wide awake in prone position. The doctors talk to the patient. These are all gentle taps. Then they fixate these screws, fixates it right here into the joint. The patient walks in pain in less than an hour after the procedure takes less than an hour. They walk in pain. They leave that surgery center pain free, and literally that day. And what we're seeing is we're actually seeing a lot of bilateral procedures that are performed. And this has really been great because the training program. So let me show you. This is a newer video that you haven't seen. These training programs have been absolutely a key thing for Aurora, and will continue to be a success driver for Aurora. When we get out there and we're in the face of the doctors, being able to talk to them about why they should use our zip device, why they should use our TFX system, why they should be using the new AERO system, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But the tactile feel, the hands-on approach, people leaving with a smile on their face, everyone's walking out of there with the Aurora hat. They understand how they're going to get paid for the product. What are the good clinical results? We've got old and young doctors coming to these training programs. And we've got ortho, neuro, and pain. And that's really another big focus. I want the investors to understand what Aurora is driving towards. You've heard me talk a lot about the interventional market. I want to let you know that Aurora is really dedicated to ortho, neuro, and pain. It's not just a one-sided conversation. We want everyone to see the benefits of our technologies and how it can work in their communities and their practice. So a lot of these videos you're seeing that's a neurospine surgeon back there, Dr. Sebastian Koga. Terrific instructor, terrific surgeon, and most importantly, a really great guy. You got Dr. Vogel back here, who's a pain doctor, who's out of Las Vegas, actually teaching of our courses. You saw Dr. Rasso from Boca Raton in there. There was a neurosurgeon in there from Dr. Falowski. There's another neurosurgeon here that came to the course. And these courses have been really important to us. And then the roundtable, just talking about it, why these are successful and how they're working in their practice. These doctors are talking about Aurora technologies and how it's affecting them, and how, most importantly, it's actually helping their patients. And then we've been actively involved in a lot of the society conferences. This is some pictures of people from my team. And we're out there working in the conventions. And then this is a really cool picture. This is a silent video. It's too fast, I guess, played. But they all have these headsets on, and we're at a big, busy auditorium like we were last week in Las Vegas. But these meetings are standing room only, and the moderator is talking to them through the headset. So it's really weird to walk in there. It's dead silent other than the background noise, but they're getting all the data. And the ZIP multi-center study that we promised everyone we get out, we just got that out. It just got pushed out into the public forum. People actually can read on it now online. You can read the TFX data. So we got ZIP data and SiLO-TFX data. It's all being pushed out. And then we're getting closer and closer with the DEXA. As you know, it's a big project for us. The DEXA technology data will be released to the public forum here real soon. So it was important with some of these headwinds on the allograft and the SI fusion coding reimbursement, that we got this data out there because it shows that we have safety and efficacy. It shows that we got better and superior biomechanics. It shows that these products are actually working, not just because we said so, but because evidence-based medicine is being presented by our data collection.
And that's fantastic, right? I mean,
That's right.
yeah, I mean, look, I can't tell you what, and you don't know either, as to when the inflection point will be, but I can tell you that as more data comes out to support the claims and you have better outcomes, eventually, I mean, that just tells me one thing. It's going to go that way. I just don't know when it will be exactly.
That's right. That's
Right?
right. Well, the other thing that for your viewers, what is the inflection point? Well, the inflection points are, obviously everyone wants to see a big quarter, and so do we. But there was some inflection points last year that are really key to point out that we just released our end of the year, but we had two record-breaking months in two different quarters. One of our months we had in summer of last year, we did 1.83 million in 1 month, right? Almost $2 million in a month. Our second breakout month was, I want to make sure I get the stats right, 1.72 in a separate quarter. So that was two of the highest months we'd ever achieved, beating any other month that we'd ever had. And you always, a lot of the people who've been following the story for a while always hear me talking about 1.5, 1.5, got to hit the 1.5. Well, this was a 1.83, and this was a 1. I want to make sure I say it again, 1.72, right? These were really, really key to us because those are pivotal moments in our company where we spiked past 1.5 million. We got past 1.6 million. We actually got to 1.8 and above, 1.7 and above. So those were two strung together victory months within two separate quarters. Now we start to narrow that and go into 2025 here. We're going to hit seasonality in the beginning of the year, like we have every year we've been open. And I mean, we've been open for over 10 years now. So coming out of the Q1, it's really important for us to hit the ground running like we have. But then getting into our past our spring breaks, right into our Q2. Now everyone's back in school, everyone's all set. Then we hit the summertime, and if we continue to have a great out of spring into the beginning of summer, into summer, and then going into our fall, I think we're going to string together more successful high-end quarters of over a million, 5 plus. It could be 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. Maybe we have our first $2 million quarter. And then obviously we're shooting for that first $5 million quarter. And we almost got it there twice last year. We had a 4.77 and 4.71 in two different quarters last year. So it's not that far away because Q1 last year was 4 million. Q2 last year was 4.07. So the other Q3 and Q4, we're almost to that point where we could see the actual light at the end of the $5 million quarter tunnel.
So if you look back at you didn't just get one new invention, or you've had how many have you created and gotten approval on now?
Yeah, so we have over 16 FDA approved products with a lot of different SKU numbers, but the focus of our business is really key. The focus of our business is Zip, and Zip 51, which is part of the Zip family of products. SiLO allograft, which is SiLO and SiLO-TFX, which is our SI focus.
Yep.
And then DEXA and Osteo-Onyx, Hydra is part of our spine division, along with DEXA L, the DEXA L and the DEXA C. Now, in the second half of this year, we're going to start to release the DEXA L, which is our lumbar standalone system, which can be used with Zip, can be used without Zip. It's being based off of the success that we are showing in our clinical study with the cervical, which is everything we said that we were going to do. And I'll flip up to that real quick. We said if we have really good outcomes with our cervical, which we absolutely have, we're collecting this data for DEXA. It's part of our spine division. This will look really well and work well with the cervical. Then when the lumbar, which is the DEXA L right here, this is an in-house animation, but I wanted to share it with you to show how it goes through the belly, into the anterior approach. These are big procedures.
Right.
And if the doctors are satisfied with the data they're hearing about the cervical study, and I'm telling you, this data is really, really strong. Can't wait to release it to everyone. But as far as the medical community goes, we're sharing it with all of them, and we're showing them that they're getting really good results with the cervical. Then we believe we're going to get some really, really great results with the lumbar. And this is what we said all along. We were going to make the DEXA-C, get some good clinical data, and if that goes well, then we're going to release the lumbar. So Zip, as you know, carried over to help with the interventional side of it and get some more ortho users. SiLO and SiLO-TFX product was also promoted into the interventional space, which has done really, really well. But our Osteonics and our Hydra and our DEXA was where we want to live with our ortho and neuro community. We're very committed to this. This is terrific stuff. And here's even our Osteonics, which you haven't seen, but this is like one of the X-rays. And these are big, gnarly, procedures, but they're part of a bigger picture of Aurora as we're developing the technologies to be able to do big orthopedic procedures with the ortho and neuro doctors. And they do these surgeries all the time, but they want to know, like, why Aurora. And the why Aurora is because we're working on technologies like these, right?
Yep.
And that's going to help our spine division. So the three main things are that Zip, that SI product, and then our core spine business. That's a real big takeaway message that should be part of this conversation. And then, of course, which we told everyone about how excited we were about the AERO, which I'll talk about more, a little bit later in this conversation.
Okay. All right. So, all in all, Trent, are you pleased with where you're at?
Well, I'm never pleased, but I know that we're doing all the right things. I know that if we can really set the average like we have last year, where we said we want to get to EBITDAC positive, and we did. We're really, really controlling the cost and spending. We're not outlaying a bunch of capital into R&D anymore. We are putting money towards training because training is part of the process. And we're also trying to control those costs. We maybe don't need to train 25 doctors. We could train 10 and make sure that all 10 of those doctors, or 8 out of those 10 doctors, actually use the product versus bringing in 20, 30, 40 doctors and getting the same number, right? We want to be really targeted on who wants to use these products. So we added a new national director of training education. He was actually part of our team already, but now his sole focus is to work on the targeting of those users, and then what we call like an onboarding in for the lab, that they have onboarding when they leave the lab. What's the likelihood of them using the product? So again, not just a sales cycle, but an actual training cycle. And we've implemented that here in the beginning of 2025. Adam Uten is leading that, and his job is to really, really work and focus on a positive ROI for all of our trainings. And that's going to be key for our success, because we don't want to just spend the money to get a little bit of success. We want to use the money wisely, pinch the penny wisely, to actually get a good outcome because of that training lab.
Okay. The new product that you just brought up, the what is it, the AERO?
The AERO, yeah.
Yeah. So there's an article out there that it's not really on your website, and is that because you're not that confident in the product?
Absolutely not. Far from it. In fact, what we're doing, Tim, is we are so excited about this product that we just don't feel like we need to let the cat out of the bag, right? We think, if our competition watches us, just like we watch the competition, and the SiLO and the SiLO-TFX, we'd already released the SiLO system, and under wraps we were waiting to get to the SiLO-TFX, but everyone already kind of knew that we were coming out with this product. We told people, look, we're going to do the allograft, and then we're going to do the SiLO-TFX. So that cat was out of the bag. The AERO project, like, we knew, at least we believed internally, that we were going to get a C2 to S1 approval with the FDA, and it wasn't an easy approval. It was as much of a grind as the TFX was getting approved, but we knew if we got it, that we would have something very special. And I just don't feel like we need to we don't need to boast that. The press release went out. I'm telling people on one-on-one meetings that how excited I am about it. As I told you, and many of the people who came by our booth, I had meetings scheduled from 8 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night at the Microcap conference, which is a great conference, by the way. So shout out to Planet Microcap. Great job there. And it was great to see you guys out there. But every meeting, every half hour, I had a meeting with somebody. And as you know, I repeated myself over and over again. And the reason why I repeated myself over and over again, because you've got two SI joints, but you have 24 vertebra in your spine, right? So you have two facets per vertebra all the way up the spine. And the number one treatment in a pain market is facet.
Yep.
And orthopedic and neuro doctors, they work on facet all the time. They're trying to deal with, but they deal with pedicle screws, and they deal with A-lift standalone systems, and a lot of other, but they're always in the facet, either putting bone graft material in and around the bridged area of the facets, taking out the facet, working on the facets. So we know that we have something here, but we want to prove it first in a clinical outcome. We've told everyone that the end of Q3, we'll be able to do our first surgeries and be able to get some updates out to the field by Q4. And we're really bullish on that. But for me, just to slap it around the internet and put it on my website and have every competitor do screenshots of that is it's we don't need to do that. We don't need to give them that much of a.
This is not your first rodeo, is it?
It's not my first rodeo. Not my first rodeo.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sure, I guess stakeholders and shareholders have to have faith that there is a method. There's a method behind the madness, right? I mean,
That's right.
there is a very diligent reason as to why you're doing things the way you're doing things, and it's for the best interest of the company and the stakeholders ultimately.
Yeah, we started this company for on a purpose, and the purpose has not wavered. Like, we're still purpose orientated. We are patient first orientated. We are doing these things because we believe in them, and we know that the time is now. And we get that, and we know that there's some impatient investors, and we're just as impatient on it because we've worked so hard on this and dealt with the COVID issue where that delayed us even further. But now that's all. We don't even talk about COVID anymore. We only deal with what we have, and everything we said that we were going to do, we've been doing it every year. Now, what I'm saying this year, last year, let's get to an EBITDAC positive where we can control that spend and make sure we have the dollars lined up right. Now, what I'm saying this year is let's make money. Let's put real money in the bank. Let's hit some, not just two good spikes in the year. Let's put together a nice, sizable quarter. Let's make sure that we're doing all the right things. And then to add on the shots of gold that we can help improve, let's say we hit our first $5 million quarter this year, then where do we go from there? And what are you going to add on? What are we going to see next from Aurora? Because that'll be the next question. Once you hit 5, then they're going to want to see 6. And how do we hit 5? Well, by doing the things we're doing now with the products that we actually have right now today. And the products that we have right now today are the products that are going to get us to that 5 million, that 6 million and more in sale. I don't need to make a bunch of new products to get us to 6 or to even get us to 5. The products we have will get us there right now today. But what will add on that is the things like the AERO and the expansion of DEXA, and how Hydra and Osteo Onyx are now starting to get some momentum underneath them. And then the whole bag starts to work because we have an ortho, a neuro, and an interventional bag that we think is first in class.
I think people forget too that you were like the sales force, the CEO. I mean, you were wearing a lot of hats for a while, right?
Yep, that's right.
And that's changed over the last year and a half, 2 years, right? You've now got somebody that's running the sales division, right?
Yep.
Matthew or Matt, and you just brought in another sales guy. So I asked you this right before we hopped on. Do you feel as though you've still got some work to do on the sales team side of it? And your answer was absolutely.
Absolutely. Sales is all things in sales is a relationship business, and I have a map right here that you can't see, but I've got big pockets of area, all the Northwest, a big portion of the Great Lakes area, the whole a big section of the southern states, and we just recently added a new guy, Ian Howe, who's in the Mid-Atlantic. But the Mid-Atlantic on my map was empty all last year, zero, no person in there. And there's a huge population between Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee and Kentucky. Right, having no one in those locations and putting up zeros is not ideal. And
Right.
that just goes to show you, if I'm putting up zeros there, I was putting up zeros in Kansas, St. Louis, Missouri, the Dakotas, Minnesota, and then of course we were doing a little bit in Oregon, but almost nothing in Washington, Idaho. And those are great medical areas up there. And just by getting people added in there, now we have over 14 people, direct people in the street. But when I first met you, Tim, I had 4. So it's a process because we want to be able to afford it. We think we've been diligent on making the products, and now the word is being spread. But there's still plenty of dirt that's uncovered that we need to get the right people in place there, and that'll also drive revenues in an upward direction for us.
Okay. And I think that's the biggest concern, because the longer it takes you to get to cash flow break even or positive, right?
Yep,
Or profitable, everybody gets worried about dilution. I mean, that's the biggest thing, right?
that's right. That's
And
right.
get through that portion. But I don't get this. I mean, how are you on cash right now? Are you okay on cash?
Our AR is tight as far as like some slow payers that we're working on. It got up to over 3.1 million in AR that we're squeezing on that money to get that money back into us. Cash type, but last week, when I got pitched several times on people wanted to give, put money in Aurora, and I get
Yeah.
calls on it every week, and I turn everyone down. And it's the same thing I told everyone last week. So I'll tell the same story this week. Obviously, if I had to take it, I would, but I'm not advertising it. I'm not doing it because I want to dilute us any further than we have to. If I can get that 3.1 million AR down, then it puts us in a better cash position. Cash is always key.
Yeah.
And we also have internal controls. We didn't just add salespeople, we added internal. We added an AR person, we added another customer service person, we added another engineer. I know that might say, well, now it sounds like you increased costs, but we increase efficiencies, so that way we could be better in-house, because the more sales we can make, the faster we can collect those sales, the more money we're bringing in. And that includes paperwork with engineering and getting trays out in customer service, and having somebody besides one of our accountants collecting money, a true person focused just on AR. And that's why we were able to reduce that from the previous year. And we think if we can keep that pressure on people to sell, to get to, we speak things we sell, that people pay us the money back on time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You feel as though there's anything else that you really want to focus on or hit before? I don't want to make this a real long interview, right?
Right.
We have a tendency to make that
Well,
happen.
only recently did somebody say they thought that maybe our SI product had gone flat. I think a lot of that had to do with those early headwinds that I had mentioned to you earlier. I feel like those headwinds have really, really died down. And I think it's we got blue sky in front of us, and we got blue sky in front of us, not just for SI, but we have it for DEXA, because the clinical data that we've been talking about is working. We're able to share that with the doctors. And then the excitement that the team has about where we ended the year. Everyone was very excited about how we ended the year, and everyone feels good about how we started the year. And I also feel good about where we already are going into Q2, which I know we're only a couple days in. And then with the AERO just a few months away from being put in, that's got a lot of really positive buzz that my sales organization, which is really excited about it, keeps them pumped up. And then we're seeing some really great early X-ray images on the Hydra Osteonics system, and we're going to be releasing the DEXA L product here towards the end of the first half of the year, towards the beginning of the second half of the year, and that'll continue our story as we talked about. That DEXA is a product that was, although we wanted to see bigger sales on it early on, the things that we were doing with it were proven. And the fact is that what we said it was going to do, it's actually doing and working well. So I wanted to get that information back out to the field, people who listen to your show, that Everything is on track the way that we advertised it. It's just a matter of continuously executing on what we said we're going to do.
I think the really important thing to highlight with you guys is, I mean, look, there are companies that build, how do I put this? I don't see Aurora Spine as a flash in the pan. I see Aurora Spine building a brand that lasts for decades. Does that make
Yeah,
generations,
that's
right?
right. That's right.
Long after you and I are gone, I think DEXA and continues to be and is the standard. That's what I think you're building, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That to
You
me,
won't. No, go
it,
ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
I think that's more important than trying to get there real fast, right? I mean, I think you're building something special. And maybe I'm all wet, but I really think you are building something special that is going to be a generational type product.
Thank you.
That doesn't happen overnight, man.
No, what we do is very hard.
Yep.
Um, but also what we do is we don't make excuses for it. Like we know that we need to sell more of it. We've got 14 direct sales reps. We got about 50 distributors in the country. A little over 100 feet on the street. The story is building. The swell is building, and the best thing is that some of these implants, like the first zip that we came out with, has been implanted now for 12 years. Right? It's not like a new product. It's actually got really great clinical outcomes. And then we said that, and then we put our money where our mouth is. We did a clinical study to say everything we said it was going to do, and then we proved it by putting a multi-center study together for it. And that data just came out. Like I said, you'll be able to see that online here. It's evidence-based medicine. It's a great story. If dollars and cents are the only thing that's missing on that, buckle up. Here we go. This is our year, and we're ready to go forward.
There you go. That's the kind of thing you like to hear right there. Buckle up, right? Because it's about to get fun. Trent, I love your story, man. And when you do have the AERO, when you do have something come out on that, let's make sure that we connect real quickly when that happens, so we can highlight that for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll make your show one of the very first ones that gets the update on it. Be my pleasure.
Okay. Anything you want to say to the shareholders? Look, I know how hard this guy works. I do. I mean, you did have back to back to back to back. I walked by your booth, I don't know how many times. And yeah, you were just same, it was the same pitch over and over and over again.
That's
Wanting to
right.
make sure you got everything in that 30-minute span, right?
That's right. That's right.
It's a lot of stuff to absorb.
Right.
But
That's right.
it just shows you how much has been accomplished over this time period. You guys haven't been sitting on your ass, just resting on your laurels. You've been doing a lot of good things, and that will, I truly believe that will start to show in the numbers. There's no doubt in my mind it will start. It will show in the numbers. It already has started to show,
That's
but
right.
I think you're going to hit one of those. You're going to hit that. I don't know when it's going to happen, but you're going to hit it, and then there's no looking back. The numbers should just keep climbing, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, we are, I think we are this close to everything we talked about. We had the breakthrough months. I think technically that Q3 and Q4 really were breakthrough quarters for us. Um, Getting past the 5 million will be a big milestone for us. Getting the first $2 million quarter, a big milestone. But put some real money in the bank this year in 2025, along with a couple key announcements like DEXA-L and the AERO product that has been in the discussion point for the last couple of years. That they actually come out just like the TFX came out and showed that it could be a product that would really elevate the company and put it in a position to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're putting I guess maybe that's the way I want to see it. You started out as like a nothing nobody company, right? Would that be a fair
That's
assessment? Nothing
that's
nobody
right.
company.
We
In the
we are
back
one
of the
product.
room, in the back
Yeah,
of the room, right?
yeah,
Where are you today when you go to those kind of conferences, right?
that's right.
It-
Back when we were in the back of the room with one product, we said that. Apologize. We said that we were going to do well with this one product, and this product today is still from the very first meeting I ever had with this, the very first day we got the FDA approval on this in 2014. You know, now there's well over 10,000, closer to 15,000 of these implants put in, And now we have a whole array of products that every penny that we brought in, we put it right back into the company. So that way our shareholders and stakeholders in the company wouldn't just rely on one widget. They would rely on it. It's been the same board. We've had some people come and go sales wise, but a really strong sales team, sales commitment. And we've made over 9 different products patented, over 16 products FDA approved, over 3,000 SKU numbers with the FDA. So we have a big assortment of products. And then, but we didn't just make products to make products. We made products that we thought would be specific to the market. And then when we needed to pivot, like we did with the Zip and the SI products, we added a whole new division to our company because we saw a win opportunity, and it has been a win opportunity for our company. We do over $1 million a month in the interventional market that didn't even exist 5 years ago for us. And now it does exist. And we have not turned our back on ortho and neuro. In fact, on ortho and neuro, we've embraced even further because we know we've got a winning product and a winning combination that can really, really help open the eyes of ortho and neuro doctors around the country. And then evidence-based outcomes with this product that show that what Aurora's been talking about is not just a fancy video screen or a sales lead. It's actually really strong clinical results that show that the patients are doing better.
And that's what's so important. And this is where shareholders can help, in my mind, in my view. I mean, if I went out and asked 45 people, hey, have you ever heard of Aurora Spine? I can promise you I'd be lucky if I found one who knew what Aurora Spine does, right? But this is a big issue. Chronic back pain is a big issue for a lot of people. So
it's the second reason why time lost at work. Number 1 is common cold. Number 2 is back pain. That big. Yeah.
That's how big it is, right? So if you know somebody that is suffering from back pain, if they don't know who Aurora Spine is, they should know because they have a product that might be able to help them, right?
That's right.
So there's two ways to look at it. Nobody knows who Aurora Spine is. Okay, I guess that's a bad thing, but no, it's really a good thing because that means the company's this close right now to being to that profitability or inflection point. If the more people that you make aware of this company and what it does and why it's important, you're helping yourself, right? You're helping yourself, but you're helping the company. Spread the word. I guess that's what I'm saying is they've got some amazing products. They have an amazing platform that they've put together that helps people have a better quality of life. So, and you own the stock. So you might as well promote it like it's your own business, right?
That's right.
If it was your own business, what would you be out there doing? Telling everybody about your business, right?
Yep.
Well, if you own shares, it is kind of your own business, right? You're part.
Well, that's right. And what you're saying, Tim, is really, really true. It also takes success of a product to also resonate, not just with shareholders and to spread the word. It takes time for a product to have success, that it resonates with my industry. People who are in my industry, they want to hear that the product is doing well. They want to see it on the internet. They want to feel like if they're going to leave Medtronics or another big company, Boston Scientific, to join Aurora because they're that up and coming company, they got to believe the story too. And this story takes time to build. So it's shareholder support, it's industry support, and it's also just rolling up your sleeves and getting after it because you have to preach that. I have to be the one that makes people want to become evangelists for Aurora and carry the Aurora flag. It's not going to happen on its own. It's going to take a team of people to get behind it.
And then the patients themselves, right? I mean,
that's right.
Do you, and I haven't checked, but I'm sure you do, testimonials about, the product from
Oh, yeah.
themselves?
Yeah, they're all over YouTube and they're on LinkedIn. A bunch of new ones recently too. 1-year outcomes. One of them was the DEXA one, which I put out not too long ago. A patient was an avid smoker. 5 levels in your neck. You only got 7 in your cervical, so 5 of them were fused. 1-year post-op film, full fusion, all DEXA cages. Patient's doing great.
It's
online. I mean, it's real stuff. It's like It's real testimonials. No patient gets paid for a testimonial. We don't give them nothing. They come in. What they get is a waiver. They get to sign a waiver that we can use their image and their words. They get nothing, and we don't pay the doctors either. It has to be real, or we
It has to
don't
be
use
real
it.
and genuine. Right.
Yeah, that's all it is. So these are real men and women out working every single day to promote what we're doing as a company. And these doctors who are doing these talks for us they only want to deal with facts, because if it was a BS story, people would see right through it and poke holes through it. But you can't be around this many years and have your products not
Yeah,
be.
who's gonna want to tie their name to something like that, right? I mean,
That's right.
yeah. So I mean,
That's right.
that's we can help. We can help. Shareholders can help, right? Patients can
Yep.
help, and what the goal should be is to shrink the adoption curve, because that's always my goal, is to try and help shrink the adoption curve, right?
Right.
The sooner we can do that, the sooner everybody says, yeah, Aurora Spine, best in class. If that's what comes into people's minds, best in class, because that is what I think when I think Aurora Spine, best in class, right?
Thank you.
Get more people thinking that way, and then guess what? The stock price goes with it.
The good news is it's David Rosencrantz, who's our chairman, is the largest shareholder. Internally, I'm the second largest shareholder, and then a lot of the stock is held internally with our sales, management team. Every employee that walks in the door gets stock options in the company. We trade on the OTCs and we trade on the Toronto Exchange. We've been on the Toronto Exchange since day one of the company. I think the float is out there. It's high. We know it's high, but it's running about 80 million shares that are out there. But if we have a successful year, part of our plan for 2026 would be to start to buy back some of the shares, and try to help create more value on that. I'm buying shares anytime I'm allowed to, little bites at a time. I continue to buy shares.
That's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. Management can't just buy shares whenever they want. They have blackout, right?
That's right.
So
That's
anything
right.
that material or could be considered material, you're not allowed to buy.
That's right. That's right. I
Right.
can't buy them right now. We're in a blackout period. But yeah, as soon as we come out of the blackout period, I'm buying more shares, because at 24 cents on the OTCs, I've got that laying here on my desk. I can buy a share. I've got change in my pocket. I can buy a couple shares, no problem. And I have no problems buying it. I'll buy back every penny of this company because I believe in it, and I know that we're on the right trajectory. And like I said, we had those inflection points last year. This is the year, and last year was a breakout year. It's exactly what I said it was going to be last year. Everything I said it was going to be, it was. And now this year is that bigger jump that we need to take. And so you guys can all measure me at the end of the year, but I know that we're going to be there.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. So, all right, Trent, thank you again for doing this, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
You will. We'll be in touch real soon. Thanks again for having me.
All right, man. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to shut this off. Thank you for tuning in to another CEO interview here at Alpha Wolf Capital. Today we had Trent Northcutt from Aurora Spine, ticker symbol ASAPF. I hope you enjoyed today's interview, and if you did, do us a favor, give us a like. How about giving us a share? And while you're at it, make sure you smash that subscribe button. All of those things are extremely important to us here at Alpha Wolf Capital, and we appreciate you taking the time to do that. Till next time, stay safe. Alpha Wolf Capital wishes you the very best of success.